Okay, we're going to do the Raw review here. Raw opens this week with the Shield in the ring, who are apparently together. They were apparently together for the last time on Sunday, but here they are together again. I enjoyed the reunion at Fastlane as much as anybody else. Like, honestly, I really did. If you look at my Facebook page, I posted this thing with my fist and my wife's fist and my cat's fist saying that we were pumped. And because I was legitimately pumped. And I enjoyed actually certain parts of that match a lot too. But this segment feels a little bit like they're just trying to sell me a t-shirt, to be honest with you. But whatever, it doesn't matter. It's over quickly enough. Seth Rollins argues for a little bit with Paul Heyman about Brock Lesnar and about their upcoming match. And then Seth Rollins has an inoffensive, if not completely overwhelming or underwhelming. I mean, it was just like an average, nothing wrong with it. Had some cool, moments or whatever match with Shelton Benjamin. Not a whole lot going on there. Nothing huge to me anyway. Maybe other people, if you're like a super big Seth Rollins fan, I certainly like him. Or a super big fan of Shelton Benjamin, maybe you really enjoyed this match. Like I said, I found it completely inoffensive and enjoyable enough. Bobby Lashley, he takes the Intercontinental Championship from Finn Balor on some shenanigans, of course, from Lio Rush. And, they really sold us that these two broke up at one point in time. And then they kind of continued to sell that they were like dancing around, no longer being teamed together. And now that kind of seems done. So I don't really know what to make of that. Bobby Lashley kind of seems like he's playing abusive boyfriend to Lio Rush right now, which is weird. It's just weird at this point. I don't know. I can't say that I completely hate all of it. I just find it to be a little bit confusing. I wish that they would just kind of decide what they're doing with those two. And it's kind of a bummer. I keep seeing people all over the internet claiming that Finn Balor needs to go to 205 Live and all this garbage. It could happen. They could be right that it's about to happen. They just took the Intercontinental Championship off of him and gave it right back to Bobby Lashley, even though we don't have rematch clauses. And I'm trying to think if maybe there's something that I've just forgotten, but I don't recall Finn Balor defending that Intercontinental Championship against anybody super worthy before Bobby Lashley. It was just Lio Rush, I think, and we all knew he wasn't going to win it. So, and he just gets, and so there's also the controversy that Finn never pinned Bobby Lashley to get the Intercontinental Championship. It was a handicap match, if you aren't aware, and the title could change hands whether Finn pinned Lio Rush or Bobby Lashley, and who he actually pinned was Lio Rush, which is what supposedly started the whole Bobby and Lio maybe splitting up, thing. And so you have the controversy of some people can say he never really earned the Intercontinental Championship. And then you have, on top of that, you have this, he only defended it against Lio Rush, and the first time he went to go defend it against somebody who was like legitimately seen as dangerous by the average fan. Because if you know better, that Lio Rush is a dynamic and entertaining wrestler, and You know, maybe one day will deserve to have that title himself. Yeah, I don't care that he's small. He's fun to watch. That's kind of what's more important, really. Can you be fun to watch? Can you be entertaining? Can you survive on the main brand? If so, they don't seem to leave you on the hour-long show that is 205 Live, right? We have evidence of that. So I'm not trying to take anything away from Lio Rush right now. It's just that the average fan would not think that he was worthy of taking that belt from Finn Balor. The first challenger that was the guy who Finn took it from in the first place, and it's Bobby Lashley, and he wins. Thankfully, they don't make Finn look too bad because it was Lio Rush went and grabbed the belt and rang the bell and distracted Finn, and then the ref kept saying, hey, the match isn't over, the match isn't over, but Lio kept ringing the bell and kept holding up the belt, and so he was confused, I think, is the story they were trying to sell. He was like, well, wait a minute, you're saying the match isn't over. Okay, I get that, but what the hell's going on over here? And then in the process of that, gets taken out by Lashley and pinned. So, I mean, it wasn't a clean win, or a clean loss, but he still lost either way in the first real title defense. I mean, really, that was the first real title defense. And I don't know, maybe they are going to put him on 205 Live. Or maybe what they're doing is they're setting us up for a WrestleMania match involving Finn Balor and Bobby Lashley for the Intercontinental Championship. If that was like a ladder match or something, I mean, that could be pretty cool, right? I mean, we've seen some cool ladder matches for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon. I'm not saying that either one of these guys is at the level of either one of those guys. I certainly would not compare Bobby Lashley favorably to Razor Ramon. At least not from an entertainment perspective. And as much as I love Finn Balor, I mean, Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler of all time, and he's considered by many people to be one of the greatest of all time, and by a lot of other people to be incredibly overrated. Kind of a lot like Finn Balor, except for the hyperbole of the greatest of all time, but some people consider him to be just fantastic and one of the best wrestlers in the WWE right now. And some people think he's overrated and needs to be on 205 Live, where we actually have some of the best wrestlers in WWE right now who are incredibly underrated. But that's beside the point. Finn is on Raw. So I'm wondering if we're going to get an Intercontinental Championship match with a stipulation that is both exciting for like exciting in general, but that also highlights both men's strengths. And I think that a ladder match could do that. It gives something for Finn to jump off of, and it gives something for Bobby Lashley to set up in corners and slam Finn right off of. I mean, it might even be kind of cool if that was a triple threat ladder match somehow. I'd be into that too. I know that we have the TLC pay-per-view and the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and we get a lot of ladder matches just kind of built into the calendar throughout the year, but they also historically have often happened at WrestleMania, and I think it would be a good way to kind of end this feud, hopefully, and either send Finn onto a different storyline with somebody else and give Bobby Lashley somebody else to feud with, or, give vice versa. Give Finn the belt and give him somebody else to defend it against. I would love to see Finn and Dolph Ziggler. I mean, there's other matches out there that aren't Bobby Lashley that would be entertaining. That's why I'm just kind of hoping that we can maybe have a good blow off of this feud at WrestleMania involving kind of a cool stipulation, and then move on. And he's my favorite wrestler, and he's in a program that's on TV, and I'm just starting to get, I don't like what they're doing. I feel like it makes them look a little bit weak, but they might have some good plans for him, and maybe they're trying to not have Bobby Lashley look like such a, chode either. Anyway, Ronda Rousey comes out and has a promo, and she gets a bunch of heat, but also curiously tells us that wrestling isn't real again. And Dana Brooke shows up to complain that she's not on TV enough, basically, and also kind of to defend the honor of wrestling, I guess. She asked for a title shot. I don't think a match ever even really started. Ronda just won and easily just destroyed her. Then we get a little replay of it. One point in the night, I think it's like the next major thing that happens. We get a little replay of Triple H's promo last week on Batista, where he told us wrestling isn't real, basically. And then Triple H comes out to the ring, and Batista comes out to the ring too. And wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. That's later. Probably get to it in 2 minutes. Right after the little recap package from last week, we get a little promo package about Roman Reigns and Finn Balor and Seth Rollins and Natalya going to the children's hospital to visit kids with cancer. And I don't watch Raw to cry. Stupid. Anyway, apparently Alexa Bliss is going to be the host of WrestleMania this year, so that's a thing. Kind of boring if you ask me, but whatever. We have a little segment where Braun Strowman gets a card in a car from Colin Jost from Saturday Night Live. And it's like apologizing for their little, beef last week. Excuse me. Pardon me. And we also kind of learn in the process of this, though, that maybe Braun Strowman can't read, because he asked the guy who delivers the card and the car to read for him the card. Anyway, he could have just read it, or they could have just put it on camera. I don't know why they had this guy that read it. Anyway, and we also learned what the lengths WWE will go to sell a single toy. I was in Walmart, I think, 4 weeks ago, and I saw a toy of Braun Strowman next to a car that you could smash up and take the seats out of, take the doors off of, and the hood was black, just like that car on TV, had a black hood, but the one in the store had a WWE logo kind of engraved in it, I guess. Engraved is carved into it, maybe. It's plastic, and it was like collapsible or something. It was a toy of this exact scene that I saw 3 or 4 weeks later on Raw, and so that's what WWE will do to sell one toy, or not one, but you know what I mean. Like, hopefully a lot of that one toy, but yeah, that one toy though. Braun Strowman destroys the car. By the way, that's the whole thing. Is the car and the toy is destructible, and Braun Strowman just tears this car to pieces, and says that the next time he sees Colin Jost, it's going to be live from New York. He does not say on Saturday night, because that's like a same parent company though, NBC and USA. I'm pretty sure NBC is USA's parent company. So it could be, maybe he could have said on Saturday night and not gotten any legal trouble or anything if he wanted to. But I wonder, because live from New York could also just mean WrestleMania. That's in an area that it's in East Rutherford, New Jersey, but that's also where the New York Jets and the New York Giants play. So it's in an area that the country is comfortable with just being referred to as New York. So when he said live from New York, he could have very well meant I'll see you at WrestleMania. But maybe he'll be on Saturday Night Live sometime in between now and then to cause some havoc. You never know. Batista is here. Okay, we're here. Batista's here, so is Triple H. Triple H has a funny line where he accuses Batista, or he asks Batista if he's just going to stand around looking like a nose ring model or if he's going to come out to the ring. And that was, I was eating waffles. Yeah, it goes. Strawberry ones, they're pretty good. At the time, and I accidentally almost spit out a little bit of waffle when he said that because I was not expecting something that funny. And I was like actively chewing at the time. So, and it's actually a pretty decent segment. Batista is like getting so worked up that he's actually like kind of drooling and like stuff. I don't know. I don't know if that was like a character choice, but yeah, he was like drooling when he was saying, "You know what I want. You give me what I want." He's like drooling. Anyway, Kurt Angle comes out. He thanks everybody and has a nice match with Apollo Crews that Kurt Angle wins, and they hug afterwards, and he's going to be retiring at WrestleMania. And I wonder who's going to put him out. Or maybe he'll win. Maybe that'll be the thing. He'll win. But who's it going to be against? I have a lot of people on the internet, and my buddy Scott, who came on this show that one time, and I hope to get on again. He said John Cena. It makes sense. But I already saw like a pre-WrestleMania card that had like Cena fighting Samoa Joe for the United States Championship, which seemed a little small potatoes to me for John Cena at WrestleMania. So maybe this actually makes more sense. And that was just a little, maybe an early plan that they've scrapped, or maybe a swerve, or just completely fake. It's also completely possible. So, it remains to be seen. John Cena would definitely be a good choice. It's not what I thought. I was thinking Drew McIntyre, but now it looks like he might, well, I don't want to spoil it. I'm going to say it in 2 seconds anyway. But anyway, there is going to be a match, a retirement match for Kurt Angle at WrestleMania. And, should be fun. He still works pretty well these days. He's getting up there in age and he has all these neck problems and he really shouldn't be doing this anymore. But despite the fact that he can't really even move his head, he does all the moves awesome and sells awesome. And so it'll be sad to see him go, and he deserves a great match to go out in WrestleMania's a platform he deserves to do that on. Next significant segment, Roman Reigns comes out to face Boring Corbin, but Drew McIntyre comes out instead. He sneak attacks Roman. And so I'm thinking now maybe Drew will face Roman at WrestleMania. And maybe it will be that, because what I had said initially about the Kurt Angle thing was that I thought it would be Drew McIntyre because he was at least adjacent to some of the programs that Kurt Angle has worked within recent memory. But now it looks like maybe that's going to be Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. And Drew McIntyre did a radio interview sometime before Raw was taped, within the last 5 days or something. And Drew McIntyre, he said that he didn't have a WrestleMania match currently. So you can look out for him to be going the extra mile to do whatever he can to get onto that show. So maybe that's exactly what this was. And obviously he knew about this when he gave the interview, but there might have been a little wink and a nudge about this. Roman seems severely adversely affected by the beating. I'm sure it's all storyline. I don't think any of that's real or anything. It's like, oh, he came back too early from his cancer. But they might try and sell it like that, or like he's rusty, or like he got hit really good. Seth Rollins and some doctors come out and they separate out the fight and escort Roman back to the locker room. This really upsets Dean Ambrose, and we get a falls count anywhere, no disqualification match between Drew McIntyre and Dean Ambrose that doesn't even ever get to the ring. I don't think. It definitely didn't start in the ring. It started right up out on the stage. It spills up into the stands, and they're fighting on the stairs, and they're fighting through the production area. And honestly, it's not a bad match at all. But there is this one really kind of stupid part where Dean Ambrose puts Drew McIntyre on an equipment cart and pushes him on it for a while and slams it into another equipment cart, and it looked like they didn't collide all that well or something, and Drew just kind of had to roll off and act like he was somehow affected by that. And Corey Graves even kind of says, it doesn't seem to have done what he thought it was going to. I mean, maybe Drew's a little bit disoriented, but... And my other observation from this match, which Dean Ambrose would go on to lose, is that maybe we're going to see Dean Ambrose and Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, but also that if Dean was actually leaving, I don't think he would be taking the kind of bumps that he's been taking. He got thrown headfirst into the, I guess they still call it a Titantron, into the Titantron 3 or 4 times, at least twice. I don't know. If he was leaving the company, I don't think he would agree to do those kinds of spots. I wouldn't. All right. I'll see you soon. If I can get the video to stop.